Hi, little babies. It's Dr. Matey. Hope you're having a good one. Oh, it's 4 in the morning here on the East Coast. I tell you, I've been following this news, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. Biden says the economy's taking off like a rocket ship, and everybody's doing great. Now they're talking $5 to $6 a gallon for gas. It should be $100 a barrel by the end of the year. Meanwhile, the Biden administration has shut down oil exploration in Alaska and put the quash on all the exploration for gas and shale gas up in North Dakota and through the Allegheny methane fields. But, you know, what's really bad is if you go to the National Weather Service satellite page and you look at the satellite images of North Dakota over in the northwest part of the state, which is completely desolate with people, you'll see what appears to be hundreds of fires. There's these gas wells that are venting off the gas, and they have to fire it up to, keep them, keep the gas contained. They can't do that yet, so they just burn it off as it's coming out of the ground. But it's an incredible image. It's just shocking, though, that all this gas is going to waste because of the Biden administration regulations. You know, they're pushing so hard for these electric cars, but the electric cars are a pie in the sky, New Green Deal, environmentalist wacko type solution. And it's not going to offer any solution. I tell you, the cars, they need to be hybrids. They have to have a motor that runs on gas to charge a battery that's inside. Now, some of these behemoths that they've been building weigh 10,000 pounds. You imagine dragging that thing down the road, and what happens if you have an accident and you run into a little puddle jumper and bam! Little puddle jumper is squished like a can. You know, this is not right. You know, this big push and they're being forced by these government regulators to build these electric cars, and nobody wants these things. Number one, the materials required to build them are just difficult to get and very expensive. Then they have to put all this technology in, and it's not going to even guarantee you can get to point A and point B. I drove straight through from Denver to Los Angeles one time, 975 miles roughly. I did it in one shot. Never do that again. But it was amazing. I remember going through the Arizona desert. I had a 74 Buick with a 350 engine in it. Opening up, I was doing 85. I was the only one on the road. And for 2 or 3 hours, I just cruised across the Arizona desert doing 85. A wonderful feeling of freedom, and a beautiful night sky was lit up with stars, and the visibility was good. It was clear. Stopped off in Flagstaff, and I got some ice water, and the waitress brought it over to me, and it has ice cubes in it, but it looked like it was creek water. I mean, it was had all these, bits and pieces of stuff. I mean, I was a little afraid to drink it, to tell you the truth, but I hit the spot. I was thirsty. Anyway, and then I continued my trip. I made it as far as Bullfrog City. I pulled over. It was like 7 in the morning. It was 95 out. And the Santa Ana winds are blowing. And it was blowing nothing but hot air into my car. I didn't have air conditioning back then. And I was so tired, though, I fell asleep for about 4 hours. I mean, I was just exhausted. But I woke up, and it was like, I am in a hothouse. This is really uncomfortable. So I went down to the nearest coffee shop or convenience store or gas station, whatever. I got a giant coffee. And I made my way into LA, going across the 10. Coming into LA was like going into modern day Rome. The traffic had 10 lanes in each direction. 10 lanes. And people were flying down the road. They were going crazy. And you had to do 85 just to stay with the flow of the traffic. And anyway, this Chip Highway Patrol motorcycle cop came out. And he started weaving, zigzagging in front of the cars. Slow down, everybody. You're going to wreck out at 85 or 90 miles an hour. It's going to be big trouble. We'll have cars scattered all over the highway. So he did his job, and he did it very successfully. Everybody sort of got the picture of what he was trying to do, and he was actually, I think he was absolutely a very brave man to going across all those lanes of traffic, zigzagging, trying to slow everybody down. But he did his job effectively, and it was pretty incredible to watch him work. You know, the other thing is, I was thinking about the judge who's going to be trying Trumpy down in Washington, D.C. Now, there's no way this hateful woman, she wears her hate of Trump on her sleeve, and there's no way she can be fair and impartial because she's the hanging judge, and Trump's who she wants to hang. You know, maybe execute him even, you know. But it's so full of phony politics, and you know they're going after Trumpy with these prosecutors, federal prosecutors. You know, I think top notch shit. But they have a lot of power. I got to tell you that. And they can make you whatever you say. They can turn it around and use it against you. No matter how simple your explanation is, they'll come up with something to re-amplify it and use it against you, you know. But it's going to be interesting. This judge wants the trial to start in the beginning of March of 2024, except Trump's defense attorneys have one hell of a job between now and then. There's over 2 million documents that they have to go through. It's humanly impossible, even with a team of 20 supercomputers running AI analysis on all these documents, to get to the bottom of it. Most of them are going to have to be read personally and notated and indexed, and you know, it's just physically impossible. They're going to have to push this trial back. Now, the appeals court and the Supreme Court are Trumpy's best options for getting these feds off his back. You know, what they put Trump through with 2 impeachments with no evidence, they just made it up. The fucking liars. Pelosi, Schiff, Nadler. Oh, man. And it was all concocted. It was all a hoax that Hillary Clinton, she devised this, you know, her and Obama and their little Democrat henchmen decided, we're going to go after Trumpy. We don't want Trumpy reelected. We don't want him elected. We want Hillary. She's going to be the queen who's going to be coronated. But I got to tell you, Hillary Clinton's got a big duff. You ever see her in a bathing suit? Oh my God. Talking about a lard ass. But yeah, she's done. She can't figure out why she lost still to this day. But she was a reviled woman. She was just so phoney-ram-a, and people, were sick of her. And what she did to cause this giant investigation of Trumpy Russian collusion and all that crap, when she had a private server at her house, I'm sure it was infiltrated by the Chinese and Russian hackers. And they get all her private emails, her top secret emails, and they she just didn't care. They destroyed the server. They wiped it with a software program that deleted all the data. Then the BlackBerry phones that she used to communicate with her staff, they destroyed them with hammers. Knocked out all the electric components, any storage areas on the phones were beaten into a pulp. So all that data was unrecoverable. But I did mention last week that the NSA built a giant data center in Utah. Now, this thing scrapes off every electronic transmission across the globe and stores it in this massive server farm. Now, any of this data can be recalled at any time if they know where to look. Now, they could have got Hillary's emails that she deleted. But I guess the right people weren't in charge. And it would be embarrassing to Hillary and Obama and Biden. But that's the capability of the NSA and their surveillance state. The amazing thing is that we live under such a police state, with this Patriot Act they shoved through after 2001 9/11 attacks. You give their government the authority to do anything they damn well please. Meanwhile, the FBI is sending SWAT teams down to people who were at the January 6th frat party, the Trump frat party. And they're making them out to be arch criminals. These are good Americans. These are soldiers, highly decorated soldiers who care about the country. And the other protesters care about the country too. But what happened was when the cops started throwing flashbang grenades into the crowd and shooting people with rubber bullets, that's when the crowds went apeshit. And what happens then, too, is, it really ticks a lot of people off. And they used every kind of video feed, and they assembled it together, and they picked out a couple thousand people to go after. They're still arresting people. Some of these people weren't even on the Capitol grounds, and they still get charged. But these Washington, D.C. judges, they're a bunch of phoney-ram-a, stuck-up egomaniacs. Oh, I have all this power as a federal judge. I can do anything to anybody. But there was an evil Nazi judge. His name was Fiedler. And everybody who came into his court was automatically guilty, and he would execute him. Sentence, execution, goodbye. But these judges, they have no impartiality, no sense of fairness or fair play. Yet they're sitting on the highest benches in Washington, D.C. It's like a little club. The Judge Club. Hey, we'll see you up there at the Judge Club. We'll have some martinis and smoke some doobies. But these guys are nuts. They're so hardcore law enforcement. And people deserve breaks. They deserve second chances. You're busted like that. How would you like the FBI and a SWAT team breaking the windows and your doors on your home because they didn't know if you'd be armed or anything, and make a big production out of it, and then whisk you away and put you in a gulag, a rat-infested, urine-smelling, feces-smeared prison cell? And they don't feed you; they spit in your food, and the guards beat you up, and it was bad. I mean, these people are really tolerating a lot of things. So if the Trumpmeister is elected, I encourage him to vacate the sentences and pardon all these political prisoners that the Biden regime has incarcerated and charged. Now, we need to charge Joe Biden. I'm sorry, but the story's coming out that this guy is bad news. President Louse, I called him the other day. And he's a louse. He hangs out with bedbugs and roaches and rats. And but his staff, they all look up to him because he's Joe Biden, and they love Joe. Oh yes, yeah. Oh Joe, we worship the ground you work on because you're Joe Biden, and we love you. Oh, gets me mad. But he needs to go down. He needs to get a cognitive test because he's out of his mind. He has no mind left. It's fried. His brain cells are dying. Thousands of brain cells are dying every day, and the guy's losing it. You see the performance he put on in Vietnam, making a speech, and he just went out of his mind. He was a damn embarrassment. Having the president of the United States in a foreign country, telling people he's got to go to sleep now because I'm tired. I'm Joe Biden. I need sleep. They call me Sleepy Joe. Oh. Now listen, if you don't think the country's heading in the wrong direction, I saw a video tonight of thousands of migrants on open trains steaming north to the American border so they can join the other invaders and make America great again for themselves. You know, the government's handing out $2,300 a month to these invaders. You know, here's a little pocket money. We'll get your food stamps, and we'll get you set up in a place to live. We'll get you showers and medical care and some fresh clothes. You know, all these do-gooders and the big-hearted liberals, you know. They said, oh, we are sanctuary cities. Anybody can come if they need sanctuary. But now they realize what a big mistake that was. You know, what I don't get is why Biden would keep the southern border open and allow nearly 10 million people to invade America. And then they've got a place like Lahaina, where the people are utterly destitute. They have nothing. No money, no food, no water. The government has the whole area that burned cordoned off. They won't allow any pictures to be taken, no drones overhead. Access to their spokes weasels are cut off. The press can't get in touch with them and ask them some tough questions. And it's really a bad situation. And this idiot Biden is prolonging this Ukraine war. He's probably going to drag the U.S. into it, which equals nuclear war, because we'll have to nuke Moscow and their subfleet and their surface fleet and all their mobile launchers and their ICBM launching stations. We'll just have to rain fire down on them. and destroy Russia. And Russia has been through a lot in the last 150 years, 200 years. Napoleon, the World War I and World War II, the Cold War. So they're tough son bitches. World War II, they lost 20 million people. We had 12 million people in arms in the U.S. over in Japan and Europe. And our military's a paltry 1.2 million. We got a bunch of trannies and fatties and psychos in there, you know. Oh, it's diversity and equity. We have to have, oh, everybody's the same and they all deserve the same outcome. Now, this is a mental illness that these people think like that. It just really is. Well, I guess I'm wandering a little bit because it's so late and I'm tired. I took some Clonopin, a couple of milligrams, try to relax me, and I can get 5-6 hours sleep. I'll be good. But what's really bothering me is this Biden story. He has to be assessed by the best cognitive doctor in the country, and they have to really put him through the ropes, the ritual, you know, whatever they do for the exam. And they need to look at him real hard because he ain't all there. And we got an idiot, demented president who's taking us to nuclear war. Right? Your senators and congressmen, all these pro-war Democrats, and tell them to back off. We don't need a war. We want peace. But, you know, these Democrats are hell-bent on starting a war with Russia. They want to nuke them. Oh, man. Well, there goes New York City. There goes Chicago. There goes Miami. Washington, D.C., St. Louis, Memphis. Boom, boom, boom. Nothing like a nuclear burst in the morning when you see the fireball from 20 miles away and the light it emits when it explodes is 20 times more powerful than the sun. But this is what has to be stopped. They need to change their attitude and stop this freaking war footing. You know, those people in line I could have been well taken care of, which they should have been and should be, with all the money they squandered in Ukraine. It's a losing proposition. You cut your losses and get the hell out of there. But that's all my opinion for tonight, I guess. I know it's harsh. I like talking harsh because I know a lot of things. And some of the stuff I know, I'll carry to the grave. And it's pretty intense. But I wouldn't share it with you or anybody else. Well, put it this way, I've been around the block a few times. And we are living in a very dangerous world right now. And it's scary. So prepare the best you can. Try to get 3 months or 4 months worth of food stocked up somewhere, even if it's canned goods, you know. Baked beans and kidney beans and chili and pasta. Make yourself up some hardtack that'll last you 5 years. Flour, salt, and water, and you cook it up, and then just store it. Try to keep it away from the insects. But in the Civil War, General Washington's army, they survived on heart attack. Or what did I say? The Civil War, the Revolutionary War. So, I imagine what George Washington would think if he came back to the present day and he would look around and it would just blow his mind. But he was a great man, a strong leader, a strong man. And he was tough as nails. And he did everything humanly possible to found this country and establish law and democracy and trade. And he's one of my heroes. All right, little babies. I love you. You take care, okay? Bye-bye.